Welcome to weaponseducation.com. Per popular demand, it's time to speak about blades again. If you're into blades, you'll be into this video. We're going to bring it to the next level in this video. As you know, in the past, I've always promoted cold steel and will for the rest of my life. I love these Espadas. I love the Spartans. I love the Voyagers. I like everything cold steel does. Look at this extra large Espada sword. Awesome, awesome. But I got a PM who is now a friend of mine. He's on the phone. He's going to speak here. He's an expert. I got a PM from, his name is Don, saying, Tom, I love cold steel too. They're awesome. But maybe you need to speak about other blade manufacturers, and I agree. Particularly, this review is going to be on Bark River, and we're also going to talk about other things. Things such as the difference in production knives and semi-custom knives and full custom knives. So if you're into blades, like I said, you'll be into this video. What we have here is something that Don sent me on loan here. This is his personal blade. It's called the Mini Fox River by Bark River. We will zoom in real close to it here in a moment. Right now, I'll tell you the overall length on this blade is 6.6 inches. The blade length is 2.9 inches. The steel is A2 at 58 RC. Don's going to talk about all that, the expert. Blade thickness is 150th of an inch, and the weight's just less than 4 ounces, so it's light. This is super high quality stuff here. This is the real deal. It's on ArmoryExpressOutlet.com. What I found out was, after speaking to Don, is it's pretty tough to get a Bark River blade. The ones that are on my site are available immediately. I had to go through 17 pages of blades from the manufacturer to find ones that do not say unavailable. So the ones that are on my site are available, and Don's going to explain to you the reason why. They become collector's items because they only put certain runs out on these different models, and all of a sudden they're extinct. Very special blades. I'm glad Don turned me on to it, but let me introduce you to Don. What he did, by the way, before I do that, he sent me this wonderful letter. His link is below. Him and I are going to be working together as not only friends, but business associates on ArmoryExpressOutlet.com. He's going to be your go-to guy for repair and upgrades of your blades, and we'll explain that here in a moment. He sent me this wonderful handwritten letter, not typed out in Word or anything. He took his time and wrote it. And the first sentence says it all. A gentleman like you should have a classy gentleman's folding knife for EDC. And he gifted me this. I opened up the package. I had the box here, and I opened up the package and why is there 2 blades? I know he sent me this one for a loaner to do the video, but what's this one all about? This is an A.G. Russell, and I am talking sharp, tight, super high quality. Don's going to go over this blade with you. He even sent some Band-Aids. He goes, on the phone, he spoke to me, he goes, Tom, he goes, I don't think you realize how sharp these are. He goes, get a piece of paper like this, and I'll show you. This is, okay, we're talking sharp. We're talking sharp. All right, hopefully that got your attention. Let's talk to Don right now. I'm going to have you speak as an expert. Don, are you there?
Yes, how you doing, YouTube? It's Don coming at you with another nice review with Don.
All right, turn your audio up if you can't hear Don. We're doing our best with the audio here. So Don, speak up, and I'm going to ask you some questions. First of all, what turned you on to Bark River in the first place?
Bark River actually is a semi-custom knife company. They make fantastic quality stuff. And what turned me on to it was the convex grind geometry at an affordable price without having to go to a custom knife. And they're tough to find knives that are made that way. Also, they're not made out of stainless steel. They're made out of high-quality A2 air-hardened tool steel, which basically holds an edge a lot better, is a lot tougher, and can take more pounding and pierce than any stainless steel pretty much can give at it without going to the exotic stainless steels, the CPMs and stuff. So for the money, it's an excellent quality, amazing semi-custom blade, and that's what turned me on the Bark River.
Talk about the word grind for a moment. I'm going to put the photos up. that you sent me via email. Do you have the photos in your hand?
Yes, I do.
Okay, let's talk about photo number one here, image number one.
All right. Image number one is what typically manufacturers do. That is called a hollow grind. It's very easy to manufacture that grind because two wheels can grind out metal. What the grind means is it's how they grind out metal to get to the edge tip. And essentially, that's the cheapest, fastest, most economical way to do it. And it doesn't necessarily have the best cutting geometry because it wedges itself in a material and creates a lot of drag when cutting through something.
What about image number two?
Image number two is a flat grind, which is typical on most kitchen knives, especially most Japanese-style kitchen knives and some of the German kitchen knives. That has a much better geometry. It's much more expensive to do it that way because you're grinding off a lot more metal to get to that tip. Now, that also has a wedge effect after a certain point and does create drag, but it is still a higher performing knife than number one.
What about number three?
Number three is what is typically on a lot of outdoor knives. That's also a V grind until the flat bevel up top. It's just a wider V grind, which is good for axes or any type of outdoor wood type cutting splitting thing. That's also not the best performer, and it is not a bad design, but it's better than the hollow grind.
What about number four?
Number four is called a chisel grind or a kataha. Typically a Japanese style design on kiradishis and a lot of Japanese style knives. It's designed for sushi applications where you cut the meat to one side, and it's also good for fighting because it creates an asymmetrical wound when you stab an attacker. However, the downside to that is there's not a lot of backing behind the tip of the edge. There's not a lot of metal around it, so the edge itself is not as strong.
What about number five or six?
Well, let's start with number five. Number five typically is a knife that has a V grind as the primary edge that goes into a tertiary or actually a secondary edge that becomes more obtuse. Now that edge is typically what happens when you resharpen your knife over and over again. It keeps going back in that thicker metal. This actually gives you a stronger tip than, let's say, number two, and it gives you a little bit better cutting geometry than number one. It's a big trade-off, but it will give you a stronger tip and it's better geometry than number one, and that's what happens when you keep sharpening your knife over and over again, so it's looking like that.
Well, number six?
Number six is pretty much the Cadillac of grinds, I call it. It's the convex edge. The advantage of a convex edge is it is on an angle that is round, which means that each point that hits a material only hits one point at one time. There is less drag when it cuts through something. Less drag means it will cut easier. This makes it better. Also, there's more metal around the tip. If you look at the tip on number six, it's a little bit thicker than number two. But that slight trade-off, an initial super scary sharpness, will reward you with a much stronger edge with more metal around it that has less cutting resistance going through material. It is also the hardest grind to make.
Yeah, Don, one more time for the viewer's sake. What is the definition of grind?
Grind is how you remove metal to get to the tip, or get to the edge, actually.
Okay, good. Now let's also talk about, take a look up please, thank you. Let's talk about the difference in a production knife, a semi-custom, and a custom blade.
Okay. The biggest difference between a production knife and a custom knife is time. The more time you spend on something, obviously, the more you can go into it. The materials, and most importantly, the heat treat. Basically, when you make thousands and thousands of knives, you're going to have plus and minuses in engineering quality. It's not going to always be exactly the way that it is intended by the manufacturer's design to be at that level. Custom knives are heat treated more, not more, but at a much more precise way. Also, they take longer to make. They use better metal. They use better handle material. There's a lot more time that goes into them, and that's why they are custom knives. Most custom knives, you can bend them at almost 90 degrees, and it will not break.
Say that again. Say that again.
Production quality that can do that.
Say that again. Most custom knives you can do what?
Most custom knives, you can put in that vise, you clamp down on that blade, and you can pull that handle all the way to a 90-degree angle. It will not break. That is what you have to do to pass the ABS bladesmith school. And that is the only way you can pass and become an ABS master bladesmith. That blade should not
That's really incredible. The steel, why is the steel important?
The steel is important because it is basically where the rubber meets the road. Because you want an edge that will stay sharp for a long period of time, that will not roll, that will not shift, that will hold together, and be able to cut through other materials besides things that are soft. Because most knives are being used for outdoor use by enthusiasts or hunters or outdoorsmen, will eventually have to cut wood, and that's a much harder material to cut than, let's say, a tomato.
Okay, please zoom in real close on this knife that you loaned to me and talk about the blade here, Don, and the handle, the full tang, everything all about it. Go ahead and talk about it.
Okay, that Bark River knife is called a Mini Fox River. It has a stag bone handle. It is not plastic, it is not wood, it is not micarta that came from your dried up socks and got recycled. That stuff is an amazing material. It almost has natural jimping because it's very grippy. It's a full tang construction, and it's a great EDC utility knife that is scary sharp, convex edge geometry that you can basically have for the rest of your life if you maintain it properly.
How did you get it so sharp?
Stropping. You basically, there is a trade-off. With a convex grind, you're going to have to strop it. You're going to have to get leather, back it with wood, and then strop it that way. You do not start. You can't chop it on a stone. Well, you can, but it's not going to get a very good quality edge. You have to use something soft, like a leather against wood, and that's how you basically keep drawing that edge out when you keep stropping and stropping and stropping it. You originally sharpened something like that with sandpaper over top of leather, over top of wood, and that allows that convex edge geometry to form, and then you finish it by stropping it on leather with a couple different compounds. I prefer Bark River compounds. They have a black, a green, and a white for a fine finish, and that's how I maintain my knives.
And what about Ballistol? Does Ballistol come into play?
Yes, this knife is not stainless steel, guys. So if you're going to be using it outside, I recommend you constantly keep it lubricated and protected with Ballistol, because A2 is an air-hardened tool steel. It's not going to rust easy, but it will rust if it gets wet. Ballistol will protect it. If you cook with it, you can't use Ballistol. Even though Ballistol is not toxic on the hands, it will emulsify if you eat it. I recommend using a Japanese pea seed oil called camellia oil. And I can send out Tom a link or something to find it. You can get it on Amazon, or olive oil in a pinch.
Okay, let's look at the other knife that you gifted me now. It's in my hands, Don. This is the A.G. Russell. Please zoom in real close. Thank you. Beautiful blade, and thank you so much. What a random act of kindness. When I opened up the box, I'm like, why is there 2 blades in here? And then I read his note, of course, and he gifted it to me. But what could you say about this blade?
That is an A.G. Russell. It's called a jack. It is basically a foot joint with about a 5 or 6 pound spring that they put in it. They built a robot that tested opening and closing that design over 300,000 times, so it will not break. It's made out of the Sandvik 12C27 steel, which is a very high quality steel, very similar to what they use in Swiss Army knives, but the stock is about 3 or 4 times thicker. Now, I'm not just going to give somebody just a production knife like that. It is almost a semi-custom design, and I also made the edge geometry a lot better, and I convexed the edge myself for probably about an hour and a half before I sent it to you to make sure it was absolutely perfect, stronger, and better than the factory V edge.
Well, thank you so much. Please
You're welcome.
Please zoom up. Don, let's talk about what we're going to do together with ArmoryExpressOutlet.com, which, by the way, I became a dealer because of Don with Bark River, and these are very rare. They're hard to get. I had to go through 17, 18 pages from the manufacturer to see what's available and what's not once you're a dealer, and I just picked out a handful that the ones on the site are available. If you want a Bark River blade, please PM me with the model you want, and I'll see if I can get it. If there's anyone that can get it, it's me. But I want to talk about what Don is going to do with me as a business associate. He's such an expert. I decided to bring him into my family and as far as my business family. And Don, if people want to repair or upgrade your blade, what could you do for them?
Well, think of me as an edge doctor, okay? I can make the blade sharper than when it comes from the factory. I can reprofile the edge geometry and correct errors, because if they're mass produced, there's going to be some errors when they make it. I can also, for next level up, an additional charge, convex the edge and make it a lot stronger for you so it will perform better. I can also, if you want, teach you how to sharpen it and maintain it. And if I have to do a phone consultation or whatever you need to get your knife the way you want it to go, I can improve a lot of little things for you and make it just a better performing tool to cut almost any medium you desire.
All right, so stay tuned to ArmyExpressOutlet.com, and the first week of January, Don's link will be on there with his services on how to upgrade and do everything he just mentioned, sharpen your blades, give you phone consultation. Channel's getting better, it's evolving. Please tell your friends about weaponseducation.com, tell them to subscribe. If you're into blades, we're going to talk a lot more about blades. I'm always going to get experts alongside of me to assist all of us. Don's the man. Thank you so much for the gift. I'll ship this back to you tomorrow, priority mail. And what can I say? Just as we're going in the right direction with the channel. And don't forget, if you buy something on ArmyExpressOutlet.com, the 10% discount code is WeaponsEd. And also, if there's something you want that you don't see, just PM me and I'll see if I can get it for you. But Don, thank you so much. Say goodbye to everybody.
All right, bye guys. It's all about respect. Stay sharp.
And okay, his link is below. Go subscribe to him. He's only been doing it for a few weeks, making videos per my suggestion. I said, Don, come on, if we're going to do a video together, you got to have some videos on there. And he's into it now. He's only been doing it a few weeks. He's only got like 8, 10, 12 videos. But I can see a lot more videos coming from him. And please subscribe to Don and PM me if you want to utilize his services. Let's stay together and be strong. Take care. Thumbs up. Bye.